Good day, grade 2. Welcome to our discussion in English 2, the verb. And under the verb, we are going to talk about the tenses of verb. After this discussion, you are expected to differentiate action word or the verbs, identify common action word, use action word to express what something or someone can do, form the present tense of verbs, identify when to use the present tense, and use the present tense to express action that happened in the present. Now, let's talk about the verb. Verbs are words that express something that a person, an animal, or object can do. It is also called the action word. And example of action words are playing, crying, eating, praying, and dancing. So these are some of the examples of the action word or the verb. So to decide if the word is an action word or not, ask yourself, is this something that a person or thing can do? If that is something that a person or thing can do, that means that is an action word. So now let's try to identify the action word in a sentence. So I have here an example. First is the girl is reading the Bible. So our subject here is the girl. So for us to know the action word in this sentence, we have to identify first what is the subject. So again, the subject in here is the girl. So after identifying the subject, ask what does the girl doing or what is the subject doing. So the answer in that question is the action word or the verb. So in here, the subject is verb, the subject is the girl, and then now what is the girl doing? So the girl is reading. So that means reading is an action word. So another example here is Clint is walking at the park. So our subject here is Clint. So what does Clint doing? So Clint is walking. So that means walking is the action word or the verb. So that is how we identify verb in a sentence. Again, verb is an action word. So now that we know the verb, let us now proceed to the tenses of verb. So the tenses of verbs show the time of an action or event. So we have three tenses of verb. First is the present tense, past tense, and future tense. But for today, we are going to talk about the present tense. So present tense is an action that is happening in the present time. So it means it is happening right now. So examples are eating. So the girl is eating. So while we are saying it, the girl is doing it, just like this one. So the girl is eating right now. So the girl is eating. So this is a present tense. This is happening in the present time. Next is, when forming the present tense of an action, verb, we must think of the subject. So the present tense is depend on whether the subject is a singular or a plural. So when we say singular, it refers to only one person or thing. So when we say singular, again, the subject is only one. And when we say plural, it refers to more than one person or thing. So it means it is two or more person. So for example, in singular, we have here one star. So that means that is singular because this is only one. So when we say plural, we have there many stars. So it means it is more than one. So that is singular and plural. So now that we know the singular and plural, Now, let's talk about the singular subjects. So, if the subject is singular, we have to add S to the action verb. So, in a sentence, for us to identify the verb or for us to write the verb, we have to look at the subject. So, if the subject is singular, that means we have to add S to the action verb or the action word or the verb. Examples are learn. So, learn is a verb. So, if the subject is singular, that means we are going to add S, just like this one. We have here Gina learns our niece. So, our verb is learn. So, we have there Gina, and Gina is only one person. So, that means we are going to add S to the verb, which is learn. So, that's why Gina learns our niece is our example. So, learn, and we add S, that's why it become learns. With some verbs, however, we do not just add S. Some example of these are verbs that end in S, ES, CH, SH, or X. So, if this happen, we add ES. So again, when the verb is ending in S, ES, CH, SH, or X, we do not add S. So we add ES. So examples are wash. So the wash is ending in S and H. That's why we will add ES. So another one is watch, teach, kiss, pass. So again, in wash, we have their washes. Again, next is watch. So watch and in CH, that's why we are going to add ES. That's why we are going to add ES and it become watches. Another is teach. So teach and in CH, so we also add ES, become teaches. And next is kiss, it become kisses. And then pass, passes. So that is the first one. So again, the verbs that end in S, ES, CH, SH, and X, we add their ES. So next is when the verbs that end in Y. So when the verbs end in Y, we have to change Y into I and we add ES. For example, we have here try, fly, carry, marry, study. So now, again, in here in try, we write the T and R and then the Y we changes into I and then we add ES. That's why it become tries. Another example is the fly. In fly, we write the FL and we change Y into I and add ES. That's why it become plies. Next, carry. It is the same. We are just going to write the CARR and then change Y into I and then add ES. That's why it becomes carries. Next is marry. It becomes marries and study it becomes studies. However, this rule does not apply to action verbs that end in AY, EY, OY, and UY. When the verbs end in AY, EY, OY, UY, we only add S. So, example is play, buy, say, and pay. So, all of these end in AY, UY, so that's why we only add S. So, in play, it becomes plays, buy, buys, say, says, and pay, pays. So, that is how it works. So, now, when the plural or when the subject is plural, do not add an S. So, example, my classmates play a lot of sports. So, our subject here is the classmates. So, the classmates is plural. That's why our verb play don't have an S. Next is, my siblings attend martial arts training. So our subject here is the siblings or my siblings. So my siblings, it has an S. So it means it is plural. That's why our verb here attend does not have an S. So that's how it works. Again, when the subject is singular, we add S. But when the verbs end in S, ES, CH, SH, or X, we add ES. And when the verb end in Y, we change Y into I and add ES. So when the verbs end in AY, EY, OY, UY, we only add S. So that is how the singular subject works. So when the subject is plural, we don't need to add anything. So that is the end of our discussion in English. I hope you learned something for today. Thank you for watching and listening. Till next time!